They say the creator economy is going to be worth $500 billion by 2027.
Mr. Beast pays like 25 grand for a thumbnail to get done.
I went from making $3-4 grand a month to after 3 months of doing it, I made. YouTube is the shipping container. Anybody, no matter who you are, no matter your race, no matter where you are, you can make a video, upload it, have millions of people see it.
The difference between where you are and where you want to go is information and action. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of As the Leader Grows. I've got a good friend on here, guys. This is going to be one of the most fascinating interviews and conversations we've ever had. My good friend Devon Canup, him and his amazing girlfriend Giselle are part of our mastermind. They were just in Puerto Rico with us last month. Listen, this cat, I met him 3 years ago at a Carlos Reyes event. At the time he was 21 or 22 and had already figured out how to make 7 figures a year on YouTube. Yes, if you heard me right, this cat has figured out how to make 7 figures a year on YouTube without having to use what he calls a faceless YouTube channel without your face. Devon, what's up, my friend?
Hey, thanks for having me on, Ken. I'm excited to make this a great podcast, man.
Come on, man. I'm ready to chop it up. So I tried to explain that as best I can. Can you explain to our audience exactly what a faceless YouTube channel is?
Yeah. And for the people watching this, I've done a bunch of these podcasts. My goal inside of here is just give you guys just raw, real reality. If you're interested in like quitting your job, like remotely, you want to like get out of something and like do something and live your own life. And then like how I've been able to make a bunch of money. My goal is to give it all away because I've done podcasts in the past that are like, Devon, you don't give enough away. So my goal is just like everything away. Nothing's being held back. We're revealing all the curtains in here. So so what we do, the model that I found is I originally started doing YouTube channels where I was an influencer. I would teach people how to flip houses. That's what I did. I was one of those guys. I was getting on camera, recording videos, and that was a lot of work. It's just your day in, day out, being a creator. Now I'm going back to it because it's fun and I want to build a personal brand. But I just wanted to get rich. I just wanted to make money. That was like my thing. And so I started discovering a lot of these channels. They were like just, I don't know, maybe introverts on YouTube or something like that. But they were just people that were making videos. They weren't on camera. There was none of that. And then it came to turn out like a lot of them, they were hiring voice actors or using text to speech or, and then now they're using AI voiceovers, which is a whole nother conversation. Like that sound just as good as a human. And they're basically, they can be anywhere from like educational to documentary to stories to entertainment to list videos or top moments or whatever. They're basically videos where your value is to like, you're giving value to the viewer and you don't have to be on camera. You don't have to buy expensive equipment. You don't even have to, like I run a lot of my channels with just my cell phone and just texting people sometimes, like, and just managing a manager that manages everything. So it's literally, you're having a production team, which right now, these days, the gig economy is booming. It's bigger than it's ever been before. Everyone's working from home. They're looking for ways to make money. So they'll write scripts for you. They'll record voiceovers. They'll edit the videos for you. You can find people that already have these pre-existing skills, pre-existing talents, and you're just basically doing content arbitrage. You're finding gaps in the market, you know, videos that like people are wanting to watch that just aren't out there. And then you're matching that with a production team of just finding cheap, like, when I say cheap, like literally you can make videos for $30 that can make you like thousands, tens of thousands of dollars.
What's crazy to me is, you may have been the one that told me this. I heard this stat because it gets so intricate when you're creating a YouTube channel, especially a YouTube channel that generates 7 figures a year in income. Like Mr. Beast pays like 25 grand for a thumbnail to get done. Like it's crazy. I know we talked about this in Puerto Rico. Like, walk me through some of the complexities. Like we talked about when we were there, I think you mentioned he has like a 60-page document that his team does on specific things. What you said is the most important information you've given so far. Create videos that people want to watch. How in the world, if you want to do a YouTube channel, how do you find out? And how do you know how to do all of these things the right way? Because it's just small nuances that either get you watched or don't get you watched.
Yeah, like to answer the business as a whole, YouTube paid out like $20 billion to its creators just like last year. I don't have the exact statistic. It's anywhere between like 17 billion and like 22 billion. I'll just say 20 for the sake of ease. So, and that's just purely in ad revenue, ad dollars, videos that were played on the ads, like if this is being watched on YouTube and you don't have YouTube Premium, an ad played, you just made Ken some money. Like maybe it was like a pennies or something like that if he's monetized. But you know, like per view, and it adds up. When you have a Mr. Beast where he's getting billions of views a month, that translates to like hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars a month just in ad revenue. And then there's also the sake of like, there's brand deals you can do, there's sponsorships. Like I have some people that'll pay me $5,000 to promote their service, their product, or whatever on one of my Faceless channels, and that'll make money. Or then also it's like for the, if you have a lot of funnel hackers, business minded people that watch your podcast, you know, it's like, it's a conversion mechanism for it. It's a traffic source that allows it to where they can send it to a sales funnel and then convert it into customers or whatever it may be. So it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, it's eyeballs, and people are willing to do whatever they can to get in front of these eyeballs. And a platform like YouTube, they've made it so anybody can do it. Like it used to be, you had to get all the television production, you had to have like studios and get like airtime and stuff like that. Now you just record a video or just make a video and anybody can upload it. Anywhere from like Netflix style documentaries to, I make a bunch of videos where I just like record a video and I can post it. So YouTube's kind of like the everything platform. It's like, it's a place and a location that it's just, it has a great monetization vehicle. It's like the second most visited website on the internet. And there's just like billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars that are in this industry. They say like the creator economy is going to be worth $500 billion by 2027. So it's just, this is the new oil, the new economy. This is, and what's cool is like, it's like when the shipping container came out, when the shipping container was invented in like the 1930s, 1940s, it made it so a vendor in Zimbabwe, Africa can sell their products to someone in St. Pete, Florida. Because now we have the shipping container that allows distribution to be easy. So what I'm saying is like, YouTube is the shipping container. Anybody, no matter who you are, no matter your race, no matter where you are, you can make a video, upload it, have millions of people see it.
That's crazy, dude. When you started this, when I met you 3 years ago at Carlos's event, you weren't doing the Faceless YouTube then, were you?
I was doing it.
Oh, you were doing it then?
Yeah, I've been doing Faceless YouTube I've been doing YouTube since January 1st, 2018. I made my first video in my parents' basement. I was awkward as hell.
So when did you start making money?
Yeah, it took me a while, because when you're a face creator, you have to have a personality, you have to be entertaining, you have to know how to have all the right freaking camera settings and like all the audio settings. And it's just like, it's a whole thing. It's a whole job. Just like
production.
Yeah, not even including like, okay, coming up with ideas and what do people want to watch, which is the more important part, but everything gets drowned out by all this stuff. So after a year, I got to where I was making like $2,000-$3,000 a month, because I had to learn all these things. I had to get over being awkward on camera.
Everybody always says, I want to do a podcast, I want to get on camera, but I know I don't want to do it until I'm ready. I'm like, listen, you're going to suck when you first do it. That's just part of it.
So after 400 videos, I got to where I was making $3,000 a month. Like, it was a lot of work. Every day I uploaded a video for like a year straight, $3,000 a month. And then once I discovered Faceless YouTube channels, like I went from making $3,000-$4,000 a month to, after 3 months of doing it, I made $42,000 in a single month. And why was because I just had to focus on coming up with good ideas and getting the videos out. That was it. I didn't have to worry about the lighting, the camera, the recording a video for 30 minutes, find out that the phone died or the battery died on the camera and have to re-record it, and like all this garbage that just came around it. So it became frictionless to do it, because, you know, Pareto's principle, the 20% that gets 80% of the results, the 20% was the idea. It was, what videos do people want? What videos do the masses want to see? And just focusing purely on that. And then are we executing on the idea in the way that the market wants it to be executed on? When we just focus on those two things, magic happens. Instead of having to focus on all these like.
So you're in the process of doing this YouTube channel. I know you were successful, you were doing really well, and then you kind of took a hit, and then you started doing really well again. Dude, it's entrepreneurship. You get punched in the gut about every good four to 6 weeks. You're getting bent over by life. Like, it's hard. You get knocked in the gut and literally just, it takes the wind out of you. What are some of the things you've learned along the way, Devon, that have been some huge lessons and things? And this isn't really even YouTube. This is just life and entrepreneurship in general.
For me, I've had a lot of ups and downs in business. But I think a lot of it was like lack of clarity of the bigger picture. And I wish, honestly, I had a mentor like actually like directing me in the right way. Because at the beginning, my goal was just to get rich, and I was optimizing for getting rich. And when you optimize for getting rich, Ken, you make a lot of stupid decisions that don't make sense long term.
Yes, you did.
And so like I would do things like I would pick opportunities that were greater than now, which I think it's a good experience to make $100,000 in a few short months. Is like I think that expands your mind of what's possible.
I mean, especially at 22 years old.
Like that, like I think like that's worth it in itself as an experience. But something that can make that much money that quickly, like this saying goes, what goes up quick goes down fast. I remember you sat me down at lunch when we first met. You drew out a skyscraper, and you're like, you drew the skyscraper, and you were saying, if you're gonna go up 100 stories, you also have to go down 100 stories as well.
Yeah.
And what I tried doing is I was trying to build a 100-story skyscraper on sand as a foundation and not knowing what was going underneath it and not doing the extra thing. Now, what I will say is you have to have a few skyscrapers collapse, I think, to know the importance of going down 100 stories before you go up.
Or you can learn from smart guys like me and pay attention who's already made all the mistakes, and you just go,
yeah,
you know what? Ken's got wisdom and gray hair or gray beard for a reason because he's made a ton of mistakes. One of the things I know we talked about, I'd love to hit on is because I mean, the first time we met at that event in Arizona, it was 3 years ago. A couple months ago was 3 years. We hop in your Benz GT and your $200,000 sports car, and we're hanging out and going to do dinner and the gym and doing all the stuff, and we're having life conversations. One of the stories that you told me that I think is important for our audience to hear is your dad was a sales guy. Your parents, when you said, "Hey, I'm going to go make YouTube videos," thought you had lost your mind. Like, what do you tell people who have a dream and a passion, and they may have people around them who love them who can't see the same vision, and try to steer them away from what they know that God's put on the inside of them to do?
So when you have like your family, I mean, it's tough because at least for me, it's like my dad was like my Superman, and my mom was like Superwoman to me. It's like I like they could do no wrong in my eyes growing up, and I grew up very fortunate. I will say I know other people aren't as like blessed as myself to like have parents like still be married after 26 years or whatever, and like still be together. And so in my eyes growing up, I saw them as like Superman and Superwoman. But for me, I had to get over the sense of like I had to come to the epiphany. And if it comes to me how I came up with the epiphany, I'll bring it up. But like I eventually came to the epiphany of I wanted to live a certain life. Like I wanted to have freedom to do whatever I want whenever I want. I wanted to work with whoever I wanted whenever I wanted. I wanted to do the things. I wanted my passions to turn into my lifestyle. Like I wanted my passions to pay for what I'm doing, not the time I'm sacrificing to in exchange make money to then eventually inevitably then be able to do what I want. And it take like years and years and decades to get to that point. And 30 years ago that'd be different. You had to be a banker, you had to be a lawyer, you had to have a really good profession. And you had to go to college to be able to do any of those. To do any one of those things that I just listed, a doctor, whatever, a high paying salary, the meta or like the way of doing it is you go to college, you get a great degree, go into a good school, and then you get incredible job opportunities. But now the scales have been tipped so much. Like the coming out of the internet was such a pivot in humanity and in society, and that just happened like in the mid 90s, and it really only started manifesting in the 2000s and 2010s, and even now where we have like even crazier stuff like AI and stuff. And it was that previous belief has changed dramatically in a full 180. And so I saw this kind of like writing on the walls of just like, life is not what it used to be. The ways of becoming some rich person in life has changed so dramatically, and especially with taxes being like crazy. Like even if you're a doctor getting paid $500,000 a year in salary, 40% of that's going like straight out of your pocket. You don't even get to see that. So it's like, yeah, you have a big salary, but it's like, what do you have to do to make that salary? You kind of have to live like a impoverished lifestyle to have like any sort of real money and to get out of the system sooner. So I saw that. And then at the same parallel, I don't know what gave me to this realization. Maybe it was a high quality mentor that I met when I was in college. But it came to the realization is that you cannot take advice from somebody who has not been where you want to be. Because you can't take fitness advice or weight loss advice from a man that's 300 pounds that has never lost more than 10 pounds in his entire life.
So question, because I know we talked about your parents and they were superheroes to you. How did you navigate internally in the, oh, okay, they don't want me to do this. I told them I'm going to quit school. Like, how did you navigate that internally? Like, what did you lean on, Devon, to know that you were doing the right thing in spite of the people that loved and cared for you telling you otherwise? Because I think this is huge for a lot of entrepreneurs.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like I had nothing going for me. You know, it's like my first kind of like big split of like the pathways was I had a sales job. I got a sales job one summer because I wanted to make money. I couldn't get an internship for computer science. And I got a sales job. But doing that sales job, I was around people that had this like hustler mindset. And so they were showing me all these pictures on their phone of all these places that they went to and all these places that they traveled to. And they're telling me about how, like, you know, like I've never traveled, like I've traveled around the States, but I've never left the country. I've never done anything exotic really growing up. And I've like never done anything. There were these people that maybe were a few years older than me that were showing me like all these pictures of them and their wife or their girlfriend and like being in the Bahamas, being in Croatia, being in all these like exotic places. And I was like, what is this? That's crazy. Like, how do you do this? They were kind of getting me down the path of like joining like an MLM and like, you know, joining that stuff. So I started getting open to the mindset of like, okay, there's ways of, you know, doing this stuff. There's, you know, sales kind of was like the gateway drug for everything. And it turns out like every billionaire, they always say like to do sales. So it's like, I don't know, yeah. Sales was like the gateway drug to me. So then I was just kind of like, I don't know. It's like if you're around a bunch of drug dealers, you're going to probably turn into somebody that's doing drugs. If you're around a bunch of people that are like doing something with their lives and trying to always shoot for a bigger vision, you kind of like naturally want to be cool in that friend group and that society, like that social circle. And so for that summer, that period, I was just surrounded by a bunch of people that had this bigger vision that there are things outside of this. Did they ever actually accomplish that? I don't necessarily, like, not really to the extent that I've got, but that was a lead. It was a direction that like started to open my mindset to it.
Some of them will be ridiculously successful. Yeah, some of them will be ridiculously successful. So in that process, ups, downs, business, what's the thing that keeps you going? Like what drives you to keep going?
What drives me? It changes every day, I would say.
Let's just be honest. It's so frustrating being an entrepreneur. Some days you'd like, I just want to go get a 9 to 5. So at 5 o'clock, I ain't got to worry about it anymore.
This has been my motto lately is like, if you want the easy life, you want peace, you want freedom, you want like your dream life, get to $30,000 a month and stay there. Don't try to do bigger. Don't try to do more. Get to $30,000 a month ASAP, whatever it takes. Lock yourself in a room for months until you're making 30 grand a month. And then once you're there, try to make it as profitable as possible, have high profit margins, and just stay at 30 grand a month. If you want to live your dream life and you want to live peaceful and all that stuff. Me, I got to that point. I started doing stuff. But I started traveling around and I see like freaking, you go to Barcelona, Spain, and you see some dude's like $50 million yacht and you're like, this is even possible? You know, you like go to these hotels and you can't even afford them. And I'm like, and they're booked out. I'm like, how do people afford this? Like I go to Laguna and every house is like at least $3 million. I'm like, who's buying all these things? And so it got to me, you know, I changed the pond I was in. You can totally be the big shark in a small pond, live your best life, go live in middle of nowhere, Kansas or wherever, like some small town. And you'll be
no offense to people in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, listening to this podcast.
Yeah, or like go move to Thailand or Bali and you'll be like a king making 30 grand a month. You'll be living like it is incomprehensible to anybody. People are going to be like, who are you? You know, you could be this exotic person, whatever.
The same way you looked at the people who had a $50 million yacht.
Exactly. But for me, I always moved like, I wanted to get out of my hometown. I didn't want to live in a small town. I wanted to travel and I wanted to meet new people. But when you go to these cities, the Los Angeleses, the Miamis, especially go international, you go to big cities, you're just even if you're like me now making $100,000 to $300,000 a month, I'm the broke person in a lot of these places. And I just feel like such a freaking little like ant in comparison of these people in the sense of like what they've accomplished. Now, obviously personal lifestyle, you know, maybe they have like their own issues and stuff. Yeah. Like, you know, but
completely different
for me. Like I'm in these places and I'm like, how, like, it's like stretches my mind and it's always in my face. Like I'm walking down the street in Brickell and I see freaking Wes Watson's Bugatti that he just bought. And then I'm seeing like some other dude's, like I just see like 2 Bugattis parked there. just on the middle of the street in this place. And I'm just walking around talking to people. Oh yeah, I just did $3 million last month. Like I just did, oh yeah, like I did 2 million. We just, did $50 million in the past year. And then it gets to a certain point for me making 30 grand a month. I'm like, why am I not doing this? It's like, I didn't feel like these people were any more necessarily capable than I was. They just had more time on me. They had more age on me, and they just had a bigger vision and a bigger purpose. And so that's something I started to gravitate towards. And I went back through the hell cycle of trying to hit new levels. I mean, like I said, if you want to live a good life, just get to 30 grand a month, find a way to have it high profit margin. There's so many ways of doing that. Faceless YouTube channels, we have a lot of students, they make 30 grand a month. They're paying like $3,000 a month to make that. They're living their best life. They're taking their families to Hawaii, like living their best life. But if you want to, like, the Ken and I, and like, for us, we feel like freaking ants in a lot of these rooms that we go to. And it's like, but it's a calling for us. It feels fun. It's like, we like the thrill. We like the chase. We're freaking tigers. We just killed a deer. We ate it. And there's a rabbit running in front of us. Even though we're full, we want to go kill the rabbit for sport, because it's part of, I don't know, it's like a thrill for it. We know that we're capable of more. And it's just the DNA of who we are.
When you put yourself in rooms like that, Devon, it makes, I remember the first time I met Grant, and Grant Cardone walked up to me. He goes, "Why are you here?" This was in October of 2019. And I was at 10X boot camp. And I said, "Grant, I'm here to blow the lid off my mindset of what's a lot of money, so I can help pastors equip their business leaders to grow their businesses so they can fund the kingdom and fund the vision of their pastor." And I'll never forget, Grant looked at me, he put his finger out, and he said, he's a little bitty dude. He's like 5'5". He put his finger in my face and he goes, "If you'll let me, I'll help you." I said, "Okay." And I mean, just even being in that atmosphere in 10X boot camp with 500 other people who were just like me was like, holy cow, where did these people come from? Why is it important? You just mentioned it. Why is it important to you, Devon, to put yourself in rooms like you did at my mastermind in Puerto Rico, like you did with Cole in Cabo the very next week? Why is that important? And what does that do for you, the leader of your organization, to be in those rooms?
I've spent over like $300,000 on like coaching and mentorships and programs and all that stuff for the past few years. And I'm always trying to get into rooms, mentors and stuff, because the biggest cost that we have in life is not knowing what we do not know. That is the hidden cost. Like you were missing out, Ken, or you, the viewer watching this video, you were missing out on like $10 million a month by not knowing how to make $10 million a month. You're missing out on $1 billion a month right now, not knowing how to make $1 billion a month. And until you have that information and you put it into execution, you will always have that opportunity cost that is happening, whether you know it or not, or whether you're aware of it or not. So what I hate, to me, as somebody that's trying to do big things and grand things in my life, to have all this knowledge that's out there, this universal knowledge that's already out there, and my ignorance gets in the way of me having it to not just get more rich, but also to be more healthy in my life, to have amazing, fantastic relationships and not have to go through 7 divorces, and to have like a beautiful life and a beautiful relationships with my kids that don't disown me for disappearing for most of their lives and not being there for part of their childhood. And seeing the people that have already gone through that or learned from other people's failures and mistakes, like a Patrick Bet David, I would love to, like, when I have kids in a family, like I want to have Patrick like personally mentor me to like, how can I like have the most beautiful relationship with my kids? Or like, Brent, or like some of these guys in the mastermind, like seeing how their kids turn out, I'm like, okay, how can I get that information they have so I can have like, so I can get benefit from them? And it's same with like your parents, relation, like everything out there. There's someone that has like that perfect life in each of these different categories. And I would hate that I have to go through suffering and misery because my ego gets in the way, or because I just don't know what I don't know. And that robs me from that leverage or that ease of life.
I think all entrepreneurs have an ego, but I think great entrepreneurs know when to turn that ego off. Because I mean, when you walk into, even 3 years ago when we met, you were 22 at the time. When you walk in that room, dude, there's me, Tim Story, Carlos Reyes,
Ryan Pineda.
Ryan Pineda. I mean, there's some studs in that room, and you're in there in that room, but you didn't try to come off as I'm this 22-year-old kid who's crushing it. You came off as, man, I just want to be in the room and learn. What information can I take? I just posted this on my Instagram page one day last week. It was the quote: "The difference between where you are and where you want to go is information and action." That's it. It's information and action. You just have to get, like you just said, you have to get the information And then from that point, you can take action. What are some of the, when we talk about action, because we just talked just a minute ago off air. I'm like, dude, how was your 4th? And you told me what?
Oh, I was working. I think on the 4th of July, I put in like a 12-hour day or something like that. I forgot it was the 4th of July until I heard all the fireworks and people partying. I was like, what is this? I was like, oh yeah.
I love it. The life of an entrepreneur. But what are some of the nuggets or the pieces of information that you've gotten in the past 5 years that have helped you, like where it just took, you got the information, went, oh my goodness, boom, and it took you not even to the next level, but maybe a couple levels higher? Hey guys, it's Ken. I'm going to ask you, if you would, to follow and subscribe our podcast. You've helped us reach the top 1.5% of all podcasts in America, and I want to say thank you. When you do that, it allows our show to grow. It allows us to have more reach, influence, and impact, but it also helps us get bigger and better guests. Thank you. Enjoy the episode.
To tell you anything new or exciting watching this video, or if you're watching this live right now, I'm not going to tell you anything that's like wildly freaking like, oh my gosh, I never knew this. Remember Troy Hoffman's house down? I don't know how much he sold his company for. $40 million, $50 million recently. He's like a $9 million house. I don't know. Like, he's doing like cool stuff. The guy's making like a ton of money, and he's just like, hey, I'm not going to tell you anything new. I'm going to tell you, like, you're going to already know everything. You went through it. I was like, dude, I'm ready to leave and go take action on this right now. Like, it was just, it's always the fundamentals that is what it is. Like, here's the thing. If you want to get rich, let's say, I don't know, like how much you're, like what the goal is of your viewer. It's like whatever goal they have. If you want to make 30 grand a month, or if you want to make $3 million a month, you know, this is the principle here. It's just like you solve 50% of any goal by being able to write it down. So as soon as you can write it down, you've already done half of the work of being able to do it. So you have to ask yourself, first of all, what is it that we are trying to accomplish? And getting very clear on that. And then Grant Cardone, he talks about in his millionaire booklet, I remember buying that thing when I was younger.
Yeah.
Page 1, do the math. So whatever you're trying to do the math. Whatever that is. So if you're trying to make, for me, I was trying to make 30 grand a month. With YouTube, you need like, if you have a whatever, $4 RPM, not to get all technical on you guys, you need, let's say, like 5 million views a month to make 30 grand a month. Just without going super nitty gritty nuanced nerd with you guys here on this. Like, you just need like whatever, 4 or 5 million views a month. Then what you need to do is find people that have done what you're trying to do, because the worst thing that you could ever possibly do is try to reinvent the wheel. Like human society takes like centuries, literal centuries, thousands of years to create the wheel. You have two options. Either you can go back through that freaking cycle, or just take the wheel, stand on the shoulder of the giants, and just advance the wheel, or just follow their blueprint that they made. Okay, you make a wheel by making it round. Okay, cool. All right, let's go find round things and turn them into wheels. Like, they already did it for us. We don't need to freaking be some mad scientist genius and go recreate this.
You can tweak the wheel once you have it. Go, okay, we got a wheel. How do we make this work better? How do we make it faster? How do we make it last longer? How can we make the production of a wheel quicker?
Yeah, so you don't want to recreate, you don't want to remake the light bulb. It's already been made. How do we make the light bulb better? Like, just go find that same exact light bulb, just go make one so you know how it's done. And then now we know how to make a light bulb. Okay, let's play with the variables now that we've made one ourselves, and instead of trying to reinvent the light bulb or reinvent the wheel, we already have it. So you want to find someone that's already done what you're trying to do. That, plain and simple, there's already people in anything that you're trying to do, almost in every industry, almost in every place. Go find someone that's already done something. And if you can't find something, okay, cool. Don't try to create something out of existence. Just go find something that's similar to what you're trying to do. Do what they're doing. And then once you get there, once you're making 30 grand a month, once you have resources, once you have time back because you quit your job, or now that you've like automated the system and now you have more time, like for me, I hired one person in my company, and then it saved me 40 hours a week of my life. Now that I have these 40 hours a week back, okay, now what? How do we take what we have, this cash flow, this business, this thing this pool of resources, how do we take this excess resources, these excess profits, this excess time we have, and then how do we what's the next thing that's going to take us to that next level or whatever? You know, we got to redefine the goals. Like, I remember 50 Cent, he just wanted to be a drug dealer and wear nice clothes. Once he started wearing nice clothes, he wanted the nice watches and the nice jewelry. Once he got that, he wanted the nice cars. Once he had the nice cars, he realized, like, he did this all through selling drugs. And then he wanted to own the houses, the real estate, all this stuff. He realized you can't do that with drugs. Like, it's just, then you get the feds on you and stuff. So then he realized he needed to become something else. And the next thing for him was a rapper. He needed to become a rapper. That was the thing. And that's when like all the, you know, the modern day rappers were blowing up and stuff. Like, and that he realized that was the vehicle that was going to take him to the next level. Same thing. Just figure out what's that next thing. Okay, if you're not making 10 grand a month, let's get to 10. What's there? Okay, now we're there. Okay, next level. And so the same exact thing. So write down your goal, know what it is. Then the second thing is and we got the balloons going off for number 2. You want to find the thing that, like, find the people, the things that are already in reality, the things that are already working. Just do what they're doing. It's not stealing. It's not anything. Good artists create, great artists steal. That's just the principle of it. Then you have to find fuel source and motivation to show up every single day when it's tough, when it's hard, when things aren't working, when the power's getting shut out. Like, I know Ed Milet talks about, he had to go freaking shower in the public bathroom because his electricity went out, knowing that he was chasing after something that was going to change his life. Like, you have to have your why. Simon Sinek talks about start with why. So what is your why? Apple, they're a company that's revolutionizing change, and it just so happens that they sell computers and that they make software and computer products. For you, what is your why? For me, it's, I want to help the person, the little guy that is like trying to change their life and it has a bigger purpose in themselves and doesn't want to buy their 20-second car. But instead, I want to help the person that when they make that 20 grand a month, they're going to change their parents' life. They're going to change their family's life. They're going to change their kids' life. They're going to change their siblings' life. And that impact is going to change lots of people. That's my why. I love helping people and seeing that transformation. Yeah. You have to ask yourself, what's your why? Sometimes it's anger. Sometimes you're pissed off about where you are in life. Sometimes you're angry and frustrated, and that's your fuel source. You know, Sigmund Freud talks about we either are motivated by pain or we're driven towards pleasure. It's one of the two. Sometimes we don't have pleasure, and sometimes we just have pain and suffering that we want to get the hell out of, and it's burning and it's hot and we need to get the hell out of this thing. Sometimes it's like for the love of it and this is fun and we do want to get to that point. But if you don't have that, if you can't use that as a fuel source because it's not making you rich right now, okay, we got to go the other direction. We have to start like finding the coals to go sit on and find the motivation that's going to get us the hell out of here.
I love that. You talked about the pain. I heard a friend of mine, Craig Rochelle, I was at a pastor's dinner with about, I don't know, a dozen of us, maybe 15 of us having dinner with Craig, 2011-ish, 2012. And Craig pastors the largest, they have, I don't know, 100 campuses at Life Church out of Oklahoma. And he's the largest church in America. And I heard him say this is what he said. He goes, everybody wants influence. Everybody wants influence and impact. He goes, I'm here to tell you that your level of influence will be equal to the level of pain that you're able to tolerate. Your level of influence will always equal the level of pain you're willing to tolerate. And entrepreneurship is very similar. Like your level of success is going to be equal to the level of pain, that the perseverance and the consistency and the what I call incremental, not monumental, small daily disciplined decisions over time always equal monumental results. Success cannot escape you when you do the right things every single day. So let's jump back on the last couple minutes. Let's jump back on your Faceless YouTube channel. So you help people and teach people how to create their own YouTube channels. Where did that idea come from?
Well, I started making a ton of money. I was young, and then I was like traveling, and I was living in a beautiful big house in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I just started posting like my lifestyle on social media. And through that, I started gaining followers. People would reach out to me and they would be like, Devon, how do you do this? And a lot of people just started saying like, Devon, can I, at first I was like, oh, just kind of helping people in messages, and I would give people insights and information. And then people just started saying like, Devon, can I like have you mentor me or coach me and like have you help me do this thing? Like, you're good at it. Can I just pay you to do it? And I didn't realize that there was money in all of this. I was like, whoa, no way. This is crazy. And so I just threw out a number and the guy was like, yeah, let's do it. And it was like, I was like, okay. And then we went and got him results. We got it to where he was making some good money, a few $1,000s a month pretty quickly on his channel. And then I started posting that. And then people kept reaching out to me over and over again, asking for my time. Like, people then wanted to have me make like a program that I would make, and then they would market it. And I did that with somebody, and like 3,000 people signed up for this program in the span of 2 months. And I was mind blown. I was like, whoa, there's like, you know, not only can I help people, but then I can also get like compensated for doing it while running my channels, while not really adding anything. Like, I'm kind of looking for a new purpose and a new thing to go down at this point. And then everybody just, you know, I started posting it more and more, and just people were demanding that I would show them how to do it. And I was booked out for many months. And then Now I've been able to develop systems around it and processes to help anybody. Like we had one girl, she's like never watches YouTube. She's like maybe tried a couple businesses online in the past. It never really had success with it. And in 6 months, she got to where she was making $10,000 a month and getting brand deals and was a CEO of a company at the time. So like she got promoted and so she was busy.
Wow.
And then she used that to go fund herself going on a trip to Mount Everest to go, like, because that's her passion is like, endurance stuff. And she went to Mount Everest. And I'm just like, and another girl, she's taking her family to Hawaii. A guy paid off his mortgage.
I want to go back to what you just said just a minute ago. And you were talking about getting better. I don't know if you've ever heard the Chick-fil-A story. Kathy is in, he's in a board meeting here in Atlanta with all of his board members, and Boston Market had just come to Atlanta. And they're taking over market share from Chick-fil-A. And they're like, we got to have more stores. We got to have more stores. We got to have more stores. And the story says that Truett got frustrated and kind of slammed his fist on the table. And he said, no, when we get better, the public will demand that we get bigger. When we get better, the public will demand that we get bigger. And I love what happened was you started teaching people what you were doing. And as you got better at teaching people what you were doing, the public, the customers, the consumers said, okay, now I need you to get bigger. Now I want to know what you're doing, because they saw the difference that you were making in other people's lives.
That's the same thing that's going to happen for this podcast, Ken.
Come on, baby. I love it, man. Devon, where's the best place for people to get in touch with you, my friend?
Yeah, we didn't go into the Faceless YouTube stuff as much as I know some of you guys would like. Yep. If you guys came here from my brand, because I know I have like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers on platforms. If you came to watch that for that, most of that stuff is going to be on YouTube. Look up Canup of Become Viral if you want that Faceless YouTube stuff. If you want to just hear more of me like brainwashing you into becoming successful and becoming rich, the best for that is follow me on Twitter at DevonCNP, or to go onto YouTube, just look up Devon Canup. I have a couple channels. I post daily on one, and another one I make high quality videos. That's more of like, if you want me to brainwash you to become successful and trick you into becoming rich and become everything that you want to be in life, that's the best place to go for those things. I want to say, Ken, your mastermind is incredible. I don't think you promote that thing enough. Like, that thing is Chick-fil-A story right now. Like, it was very transformative for me and my life and my relationships, and I know it was for everybody that was in that room. It was incredible. Like, I don't know if you know, as we talk behind the scenes, and we're like, dude, that was very transformative going through that. And
it was an amazing weekend. God showed up. For some of you guys that don't know, we're going to be hosting our Atlanta Mastermind August the 14th through the 17th. Devon and Giselle will be there, along with about 73 other high-performing faith-based entrepreneurs. A lot of very high 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure, and even some 9-figure earners will be in the room. And I've got a ton of friends coming in. It's going to be, and I've said this to you, Devon, I've said this to a lot of people over the past 2 or 3 weeks. It's going to be the best room I've ever put together. I had lunch with Eric Weir and his wife at Houston's downtown Atlanta last week. Eric has his own hedge fund. He's a big PE guy. He finances all of the top golf overseas, and he's got about 6 or 7 of the top golfs here in the States that he owns. And he's an absolute animal when it comes to business. Super good dude. He's going to be there. He's going to be talking about entrepreneurship and business. Troy Hoffman, you mentioned Troy earlier. Troy will be there. This room is going to be absolutely insane. I've got my good friend, Jake Hamilton, who used to be one of the top worship leaders in the world 10 years ago with Jesus Culture. He'll be in to lead worship with us. It's going to be amazing. Be right here in Alpharetta, Georgia, growstackdrive.com/Atlanta. I'll drop the link there. Devon will also drop all of your contact information in the podcast description so they can get connected with you as well. Dude, I love you, man. I'm really proud of you. I'm really, really proud. Just watching your journey and how open you are to having the right people speak into your life has been super refreshing to me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And thank you so much, Ken. Like, genuinely. I think, like, you're one of those guys I can say, you know, not to like kiss ass here or anything, but like genuinely, like, to like all due respect to you, is like, you're somebody that I think has a different, you bring like something that everybody misses in their thing. They, like, a lot of people, they put their soul into business, but I think their soul is the cost of it and the sacrifice that goes with it. And you have these guys that are just like coming to you, like, whatever it takes to be around you, because you're just so incredible at helping them, you know, to point out the elephant in the room of what's most important. And I'm just like, I'm appreciative of you, of just who you are and the gifts that you have and the blessings that you've been given and the mission that you are on. So,
well, I appreciate that, dude. You know, I live by the motto of great leaders want something for people, not from people. It's not about me. Zig Ziglar says, if I help enough people get what they want, eventually I'll get what I want. Guys, thank you for watching another episode of As the Leader Grows. I am your host, Ken Jocelyn. Dude, this has been fire. If you want to get brainwashed, go see my guy, Devon Canup, over here in his fancy Zoom background. We love you. We'll see you next week on As the Leader Grows.